Check 1, 2. I've been sick. Been traveling. Still my airport cup here, for goodness sakes. But I want to talk about 3 tricks that reporters use in broadcast journalism that is useful for up-and-coming journalists, or if you ever find yourself being interviewed by the local news or CNN. These are 3 tricks that journalists use. You know, I got to thinking, I wonder if I need to name drop more for people to take me seriously. Like Allie Watkins, New York Times. Her and I used to work together, the one that got busted for sleeping with the Congress member for information. Charlie Warzel, another New York Times reporter. We put an infrared chip in his arm. Alexis Benveniste at CNN, know her. Know people at Vice. Who would you like? Probably know them in the media industry. So what's the first lesson of broadcast journalism that you should know? Media training 101. The first thing you should know, particularly in television, radio, is that you, my dear viewer, if you're getting interviewed, are the experts. You're going to know more than myself or any journalist coming to talk to you about what I want to talk to you about. Remember that you know more than me. This will be infinitely helpful when I try to ask specific questions that may not make sense or may feel like I'm missing the point. It's because often I am. Often either I already have a point in my mind that I'm trying to get at and you might feel like it's wrong, because let's say I'm doing a story on a topic like aviation. And I want to understand JetBlue. And you happen to work for JetBlue. This is not sponsored by JetBlue. I do know a flight attendant that works for JetBlue. Shout out to Paige. If you're watching this. Say you work for JetBlue. And I'm talking about, flight attendants. They stay in crash pads. That's crazy. What's this all about? You're going to know more about crash pads than I am. And I might think, this is a terrible working situation. How dare flight attendants work and live in crash pads? You know, do people understand the misery that they go through? But maybe you don't feel this way. Maybe you feel like, crash pads are totally reasonable. If that's the case, remain calm, keep it cool, and just keep reiterating your points. Remember, you're the expert, not me. Second rule to live by in broadcast journalism, speak in complete sentences. Politicians know this by heart. But if you are the JetBlue flight attendant and I'm asking you, how are the living conditions in the crash pads? And you say, dreadful. I can't use that. Can't use that. It's one sentence, and if I'm splicing it together with some voiceover and other people I'm interviewing, I can't just cut to you saying, dreadful. You gotta say, the conditions in my crash pad are dreadful, or the conditions in my crash pad are actually pretty good, but they may differ from different crash pads that I stayed in Florida. That's a nice, complete, juicy sentence that I can then put into a larger piece on the subject of flight attendants or JetBlue or whatever I'm covering. Speak in complete sentences. This one allows myself as the journalist, the producer, the editor to keep you in context as much as possible when it's a symbiotic relationship and we're both on the same page. Or if it's adversarial and we disagree on a point, if you speak in complete sentences, it makes it much harder for me to take you out of context, because if I cut around that sentence, the viewer is going to know. So always speak in complete sentences. The third rule to live by, I'm going to take some more water here. Third rule to live by in broadcast journalism, whether you're an up-and-coming reporter in graduate school, I don't care what they tell you, or once again, you're about to be interviewed, I'm looking for moments. I'm looking for emotional moments. And I'm going to circle around you until I get what I think is going to play well on camera. Because remember, I'm constructing the story in my head. And 99 out of 100 times, when I'm talking to you as a journalist, I'm thinking about what you're saying and how it's going to fit into the overarching piece. And because of that, I might be looking for a heartfelt moment where you say that the conditions in my crash pad are terrible, or the conditions in my crash. That's a nice moment where I can see some sort of emotional connection that you've made and that the viewer can make too. And if I don't feel like I've gotten that moment, I'm likely to ask the exact same question again, just at a different angle. And so what you need to do as the interviewee subject is kind of count questions like you're counting cards at the casino and keep track of the questions I'm asking. And if you feel like I'm kind of asking the same question over and over again, it's because I feel like I haven't gotten the piece of information I need from you yet. That nice emotional moment, that connection where you say the sentence with just the right conviction, whether it's positivity or negativity, that I think will play well for the camera, for the audience. And so I'm going to keep circling and circling and circling. And once again, if this is a symbiotic relationship, you can just talk to me and say, am I not conveying it right? Maybe my emotions are mixed matched. I'm very uncomfortable on camera. Like, I feel very passionate about this. Can you just give me a few minutes and then I can maybe do a little more of a performative element for you? And this is done all the time in broadcast journalism. There is a little bit of performance art to it. And it's totally fine if what you're feeling is true and you're just not very good at conveying it because you've had a long day or because there's lots of lights and cameras on you, and people behave differently in front of cameras. Sometimes they're not as positive and uplifting when a camera's right in their face. Sometimes it's hard for them to be as strongly convicted about the right or wrong that's befallen them when the camera's on them. But this is what happens for journalists to keep circling questions, because we're looking for moments, looking for emotional moments that's going to play well on camera. Because print reporters, it's a different game, particularly when it comes to interviews. We can talk about that in a different video. But these are the 3 key takeaways. 1, the subject, you're always going to know more about the subject than I am, because I'm interviewing you, remember. And even though it seems like I might speak eloquently and articulately, and I might speak with conviction, and I might be coming after you, remember, remain calm. You know more about the story than I do at the end of the day, at least in your localized domain expertise. 2, is speaking complete sentences. It makes it easier for both of us, makes it easier for you to remain in context and more likely to get what you want to say inside the final piece. In that 60 minutes, in that Frontline, that PBS Frontline, tonight on Frontline, Donald Trump. When they have all those different talking heads, the ones that get to stay in there, they interview 20 people, but only 12 actually make it into any of these broadcast journalism expose pieces. It's the people that spoke in complete sentences. The ones that didn't, they get cut because it's just not a good way to fit them in. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, often when you're constructing broadcast journalism pieces. And without the right sound bites, you just get thrown on the cutting floor and you're like, I'll interview somebody else. Maybe they can speak in complete sentences. Politicians, this is a great example, want to get on air often, and they want to get their message across. And they know by speaking in complete sentences, by giving them emotional moments, which is our 3rd point, giving those emotional moments in complete sentences, they're more likely to make it on the air. They're more likely to make it in that broadcast journalism segment. So, I'm looking for moments, speak with conviction, show passion, show emotion, complete sentences, and remain calm, and that you know more than I do. Alright, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you found it insightful. If you did, like, subscribe, share, double subscribe, triple subscribe, smash the like button. PewDiePie, T-Series, whatever is popular right now, smash like. Thanks for watching, guys. I got some other interesting video ideas that I want to get back into once I'm feeling a little bit better. Like deconstructing popular news anchors like Tucker Carlson, Rachel Maddow, the various techniques they themselves use, and we'll go through the videos and talk about, like, okay, here's Tucker Carlson's classic Tucker techniques, and here's classic Rachel Maddow techniques and how she's using her broadcast journalism skills to guide the arc of conversation towards the waterfall that she wants it to fall off of. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.